He accidentally found his brother's perfect test scores. George was thrilled, because this was going to be a nice payday. He planned to sell these tests to classmates. Sure, they were already used, but George had noticed. The teacher reused the same test every year, and that teacher's laziness was his golden opportunity. Besides, for just $5, you could avoid getting yelled at by your parents. That's a pretty sweet deal. I don't yourself test. I'll bring together to help everyone get by. He always reminded them not to copy everything word for word. Not everyone had his knack for deception, but there were only so many tests. If he wanted to strike it rich, he needed another angle. He snuck the key to the copy room, planning to mass-produce those tests. But just as he was lost in the joy of copying, the door handle suddenly turned. He quickly hid under the desk. Then the physics teacher walked in, but the teacher seemed to be acting kinda strange. George was totally confused. Right then, the admin Chubbs followed him in. Looked like they were having a secret rendezvous. Shut up, kiss me. George never expected to stumble upon such a show. But for him, making money was priority number one, as long as he didn't get caught. This scheme was gonna make him a fortune, but he left crucial evidence in the copy room, and the physics teacher spotted it immediately, even though he got caught. He wasn't worried at all, because he also had the teacher's secret. Only because you came, even though George didn't say it outright. The teacher started getting nervous. Cheating was one thing, but losing face was another, so he pretended not to notice anything, and George pretended not to see anything either. Meanwhile, the owner of those tests was invited to collaborate with the professor. After that previous incident, the professor had recognized Little Ear's abilities, but now the experiment hit a roadblock. Even Little Ear was stumped. After a while, they finally managed to suspend the ball in a container filled with grease, but Grandma was already there to pick Little Ear up, and their experiment was one step short. No choice. Grandma had to wait. But unfortunately, they didn't get the expected results. The grease melted the support, meaning they had to start over. While they were discussing, Grandma came up with a great idea. If they wanted to secure the ball, why not use a mesh enclosure? Little Ear and the professor didn't know how to weave, but Grandma was an expert. So, the professor invited Grandma to join the experiment, and when Grandma heard they were trying to detect neutrinos, she happily agreed. Because she vaguely remembered John was working on that. She always thought John broke up with her, because she didn't understand science. And now she finally got to share that field with him, so naturally she wanted to share the joy. Grandma had enjoyed many things in her life, but this was definitely her happiest moment. With that joy, Grandma drifted off to sleep. She dreamed of winning the Nobel Prize, and being cheered by countless people, a dream she never dared to imagine, was now quietly coming true. Maybe she was still far from a Nobel, but she had genuinely contributed to science. Looking at the tiny blip on the monitor, Grandma marveled at the beauty of the neutrino, but in reality it was just simple radiation. To actually detect a neutrino, they'd need at least another 30 years. Hearing that, Grandma was done, because she wasn't sure she'd even be around by then. If it helps in 30 years, I should still be alive.